Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a follow-up to a puzzle we did about a week ago, probably posted a week or so ago by the same setter. So the previous one we did was called Entropy Snake, and this one, or Entropic Snake, I think it was, and this one is Whissssper Snake, both by yttrio. So the first one was quite fun to get into. So we're going to take a look at this one and see if we can have just as much fun doing this, because I think we know generally what this is going to be kind of working towards, but there might be some things in here that are meant to make it a little more interesting or meant to spice it up a little bit. I haven't read through the rules, so I don't quite know yet. But anyhow, let's get into it. So Whissssper Snake by yttrio. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, column, and 3x3 box will contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. Then we've got our snake clue here. So construct a one cell wide snake in the grid of orthogonally connected cells whose endpoints are given by the diamonds. These two here. The snake cannot branch and cannot touch itself, not even diagonally. So there is quite a restraint there. The snake acts as a German whisper line, which I think we could have figured out from here. Adjacent digits along the snake must have a difference of at least 5. So let's say we create a snake like this. We don't know how these circles work in yet. We haven't gotten there, but let's say this is the snake, the tail and the head. Along this path, we are going to have to abide by German whisper rules. So whatever this digit is, this one would be 5 away from it, and so on and so forth down the line. Then the last clue here is cells with a circle clue are not on the snake. Okay, so what I showed there would be wrong. And the digits in those cells count the number of snake cells that are orthogonally adjacent to the circled cell. Okay, so it's kind of like a counting circle-ish sort of thing, but in orthogonal parlance, I guess is the best way to put it. So we would know then our snake has to avoid the circles because they're not on this. So if we were to say this is our snake now, this guy here would be telling us how many snake bits are orthogonally connected to it. So therefore it'd just be 1. This guy would see 2. This guy would see 0. So it's actually not valid, but you get the point. So this guy would be 1. This would be 2. And those are the rules. So not going to go too much more into that. So we can just get into the solve and figure out what some of this logic might mean. So anyway, link is going to be in the description below. As always, let's get at this thing. So we know these are snake. So we're going to color them green. My snake's going to be green because I like green snakes. What are we going to color our circles? Because they are not snakeified. Do you just want to gray them out? Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it. Okay, so now that we know we've got bits of snake and bits of non-snake, I think these two circles up here, or maybe this one specifically, is going to come into play because we know our snake is a loop, right? Yeah, a one cell wide snake. Oh, it's not a loop, sorry. It's a one cell wide snake that must start and end here. So it can never go into this 5. So this must not be snakeage. But we know these circles are telling us how many bits of snake are orthogonally adjacent. And we can't ever put a 0 because it does say normal Sudoku rules apply. So the only place a snake can touch this circle is here. And therefore this will have to be a 1. And this will have to be snakeified. Now, this guy then, because it can't be 1 anymore, must be at least 2. And it can only be 2 because there's only 2 places orthogonally adjacent left that it can be. So this is 2. And these are both snakeified. We cannot touch diagonally, it said, so therefore the snake must join up here and it must get out of this area. So that's snakeage. It can't turn back on itself, so it has to get into. So this is one end of our snake now, and we know it does something. We don't know exactly, but it has to get out of here. Now, we know this can't be snake because it would branch off and the snake cannot branch. So this is non-snakified. We know this has to be snake because this either comes out this way or this way, but it has to get through here. So this actually, all of this has to be snake to get out. Okay. Let's think about this guy here, actually. We know this is either the start or the end. I guess we can say they're both endpoints, but we can't connect to it anymore with snakifying, and we can't have a diagonal touching. We can't branch the snake, so all of this is non-snakified. This can't be snake because it's be caught in a corner. Therefore, this guy can now only see one bit, and it must see it, so this is 1. Now, we know this snake bit has to get through this corner, so it's got to do this. This can't be snake. This can't be snake because it can't touch self diagonally. Now, this guy has to get out some way, and this bit is going to have to connect into this bit, because if we tried to get out of here without touching it, 1, we can't do it without diagonally touching itself, and 2, we've just cut off the head because we can't get this bit to connect back in. So he has to connect here somehow. The question is going to be, how does it do it? I don't know that we can necessarily say. Another thing we can start to think about, I guess. Well, we can never have this be snake, because then we would have to be finding some way to do this, but then we're touching each other. So this is not snakified, which means this only sees one bit of snake. Now, what I was about to say on these circles is we know that all of these at most could ever be 4, because only 4 cells that could ever orthogonally touch these guys. And I think we can actually remove 4 from the equation. I'm going to put it in, because if this was a 4, it means all of these touch each other. Well, all of these are snake, I should say. So what does that mean? Well, either we've created a loop, which we can't do, or we've created some corner connection, which we can't do. And that should be the same for all of them. So none of these can be 4s. This can't be a 1. This guy already sees at least 2, so he's not 1. So we get a 2-3 pair here. This can't be 1 by Sudoku. Good. Now, what else can we say about our friendly snake? Or can we? Okay, the snake acts as a German whisper. I haven't even thought about using that yet. So maybe that's something we've got to get into. But we don't have any digits yet on it, so we might have to think on it further. Is if we can use the German whisper restraint here yet, or if you have to get a little bit further along the line. Because this 2-3 is almost... Okay, that actually does it for us, now that I think about it. What can this be? We know it's on the snake, so it must abide by German whisperness. It can't be 2, 3, or 1. It also can't be 4, because if it was a 4, we would have to have a 9 on both sides of it. So this is a high digit. So 7, 8, or 9, it can't be 6. We can also start to think about our snake in terms of 5-age. So one of these must be 5, which means that one of these is 5, because we don't know if this is snake or not yet. But if we know this is 7, 8, or 9, it is the high digit. These are low digits. This guy can never be 4. This guy could be, because both of these could be 9s. Again, 7, 8, 9. This has to go back down to low. 2, 3, 4 is still possible. And we're going to be able to use, it was something we used in another puzzle. I just recorded it today, actually, but it'll probably come out, well, it might come out the day after or the day before I record this. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to set them all up, but it was another concept of German Whisper and how they connect into each other. Because we know that we said these are going to connect in some way. We don't necessarily know exactly how it is, but we're going to know that this digit is going to have to do something like this, where it'd be low, high, low, high, low, high. Now, no matter how we connect this in, it's always going to be high. So low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, like we said, or low, high, low, high, low, high. So it's always high. So we can always get back to this. Of course, we can't do too much with that just yet. It would be nice to tie these back in, which I think we can do because we can use the same concept. No matter how we tie it over here, we're going to get to this point. So low, high, low, high, low, high, low. This will always be a low digit. We can rule out the 4 from here as well, because we know it goes somewhere, we just don't know where it goes. And then we can pick up now our German Whisper designations from there. 7, 8s, or 9s, of course it can't be 6. This goes back up to a low digit, and it can't be 1 or 2. Now this could very well be 4, but that does rule out 7 from here. It's either connecting into here by either one of these. So one of these is the high. This is the other low. This is never going to be 4, so this is 3 and 4. That we know this has to be 9, and if this has to connect now with the 9, this has to be that 9, and it has to be the snakeage. This is not snakeage. Now we know this goes back up, and it can't be 9 on a 3, so it must be an 8. This can't be 1 or 3, and against an 8, it must be a 2. So we can start pushing through a lot of this stuff, which is good. That 9 rules out these as 9s, by the way. Let's continue on that path. So this has to be a high digit. It could be, well, it's either 8 or 9. It can't be 6 because of the 2. It can't be 7 because this would have to be a 1. So again, we're looking at 3 or 4. This can't be a 4 because we can't flank it with 9s, so it's a 3. We're back up to a high 8-9 pair, and this has to go low again, which it can't be 1, 2, or 3, so it must be 4. That figures our 9-8 grouping. Excellent. Now we know these two digits are 6 and 7, so we'll put them in there for the moment. This 3 actually says this is a 2, which now tells us we have both of our snake's body parts touching this, so these are not snake. Therefore, this has to get down here and must be a high digit. Can't be 6, because again, no matter where this goes, it would have to have 2 1s around it. So we're looking at 7 or 8. That 2 actually looks over here and says this is a 3. This is 2, 3, 2. This has to be 8. This can't be 7. And actually, it can't be 9, so this is 8 as well. Good. This can't be 8. So now we know one of these 2 is going to be part snake. We don't know which one it is yet. Because this is a 3, we have 2 of them already. So one of these is, but it could be this guy doing this, or it could be this guy doing something like that. This is not 2 or 3, so it's a 1. This 2 here actually gives us a 3 here. Good. So we have a bunch of information now. We just got to make our snake do its thing. This is from 5, 6, and 7. So that doesn't quite tell us what it is. because if we knew this was 5 or 6, we would know our snake can't go into it. Because the 7 is still an option, it could go there. So that's probably what we're going to end up finding once we get through some of these things where we get those types of things happening. This can't be a 2, by the way. Okay, now let's continue. What are these 2 digits? Because maybe we can get some more going on here. We've got 6 and 7, which means these are 5 and 9. Okay, these must therefore, well, no, not necessarily. These can be from 4, 6, and 7. That doesn't quite help as much as I hoped it would. Let's think elsewhere. Let's try to look at Sudoku for a second. See if anything pops in here. So you might need to use that. One of these is 2. One of these is... Because if we can get a little bit more information or a couple of more digits, we're going to be able to maybe get the information we need. That's not too useful. So we might not be getting that info I would hoped for. No, 6 and 7s don't exist. So let's look at 8s and 9s. So there's the only 2 that have some real use to them at this point. But it might not be enough use. Yeah, it doesn't look like it is. Okay, so we got to think more on our snake. Can we determine where this thing can go, dependent on what digits we have left to use in some of the regions, rows, or columns? Okay, we cannot turn here, because this would have to be a low digit. It can't be 1, 2, or 3. It would have to be a 4, but 4 can't go with 7 or 8. So this is not snakeage. This is. Therefore, it is a low digit. 1, 2, or 3 are possible. Okay. Let's see if we can continue on that path. Don't know that we can, because we could go either way with a high digit. And the only thing being taken out of use here are the 9s. How about one of these has to be a... No, it does not. Sorry, I was thinking it in opposite terms. Hoping we could have something on the 5s because of the German Whissper that we could work with. Okay, can we look back here maybe? If this was... No, this can't be snake, can it? Let's think about that. If this was snake, it would have to be high. So 6, 7, or 9, it obviously couldn't be 6. It would be... Well, it couldn't be 7 either. It would have to just be a 9. Then we'd have to... Well, we wouldn't be able to go this way. We'd have to go down, but I don't think it matters if we go this way or down. But anyway, we'd have to go down to a low digit. It would have to be a 4 because all that's left over. Where do we go from here? We can't go out here because we need a 9 with the 4. We've already used it, and we can't cut back and touch this. We still need another 9. So this can't be snakeage, which means this is. And we can continue with this being, can't be 6 or 8, so it's 7 or 9. And actually it can't be 7, because again, we have a 2 next to it. We'd have to put a 1 on wherever it went to, but neither one is possible, so this is 9. Okay. Now again, one of these 2 is going to be connected to our 9. Whichever one it is going to be a 4, because 1, 2s, and 3s are taken everywhere. So one of these is going to be a 4. I don't know which one it is yet, though. Now we know that because this isn't snake, this must be, because this is a 3. Therefore, we've come in here. We have to, well, no, we can go down here or here, but let's look at this in terms of its possible value. Can't be 6, 8, or 9. It must be 7. Therefore, this is 6. So these are not 6s. Good. We need to get from a 7. We can't go down here because we can't use 1 or 2. So the 7 must turn. So now this is our snakeage. None of these can be. So this guy is going to connect some way out to here. But this digit has to be a 1. Okay. Now, let's see where else we can take this. What are these 2 digits? We need 4 and 5, it looks like. And those are possible. We know this is not snakeage. We'll put that in because we can't go into a corner. We know we have to touch this guy, but only once. And we know we have to touch this guy 3 times. Now, I don't think we can necessarily... Can we? Is there any way to say that this can't be snake and that these 3 have to be? Because how do we get... No, we can't, because we could do something like that. Okay, I thought I saw something there, but I clearly did not. Okay. So... how do we resolve Mr. Snake? Again, either one of these could be a high digit. So I don't know that we can do much there. I think one of these 2 is what isn't. Because there's no way we can ever have one of these 2 not be in, right? Because then you'd be forced to put both of these. And how would you make that work? You can't get in and then come back around. Just make sure I'm not missing anything there. We might also want to just put some stuff in here for what it can be. Yeah, I mean, there can't be any way that one of these 2 isn't in. Because we can't get around in any way. If we were to come from this side, we can't get back in here. If this wasn't in, we'd have a similar situation. How do you get back to both sides? You can't do it. So these are both in. That has to be the case. Now we might be able to tie in what the high-low is for these. So low, high. This will be a high digit. Can't be 6 because it has to have some sort of grouping on 2 sides of it. So it could be 7 or 9. This has to be high as well. Can't be 6, but it could be 7, 8, or 9, I think. Okay. Now, so it does one of these 2 things in terms of how the snake connects. Is there anything? I'm gonna look over here for a second. I don't think it's gonna give me what I what I want per se, or maybe we start looking at some of this other stuff. Let's see if there's anything that stands out in terms of Sudoku. 4, 5, 6, and 7. That doesn't really seem like it's going to get me anywhere. Because we know one of these 2 is a 4. So there isn't too much there. This guy could do lots of ways to get in. So I don't know that we can do too much on it. None of these other rows or columns appear to be highly restricted at this point. So we really got to be able to figure out this snake. How do we get to you? There seems like there could be multiple ways to do it. I don't think this can ever be snake, but I don't know that that's useful for us. One of these is a 1, by the way. One of these is a 1. Just kind of randomly looking around, see if anything pops its head out here. The 6 has to go in one of these two. One of these is a 9. Really hoping that we can find something on the Sudoku side that's going to help us. Because we've used almost all of these clues at this point. These are the only two that are really at the sticking point. But I don't see how we can necessarily differentiate where they currently can touch. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 1 and the 2 have to be down here. We know this isn't snake, but that's not helpful at all. We can't rule out, anything like an extreme. Well, I guess we can. Because we know one of these two has to be in, so it can't necessarily do something like this. Yeah, I don't think we can ever go up in here. Again, I don't think this necessarily helps us for the snake. Now, if one of these two is a 4, maybe that's how we need to look at it. Okay, I think that's it. If one of these is a 4, we know it has to also connect with another 9. So if it goes here, this is 9. If it goes here, it can't obviously continue down. It has to go here. This is 9. And this is snakeage. That's going to give us 5 and 9. Just going to remove 5s and put a 5 here. That's going to cause this to be 7 and 6. These now cannot be 6s. So we get a 4, 5, 7, and we're going to have a little bit of Sudoku here. These are 3, 6, and 8. Get rid of that stuff. This can't be a 3. So, that doesn't quite now tell us what these are. We know these are not snake. Because again, it has to do something like this. But which way it goes, and then because the Sudoku hasn't ruled out a low in one of these two, we can't say it goes in either direction necessarily. Did any of that stuff we just do help us on Sudoku? Let's think about that then, because we're getting a little bit stuck again. I don't think it did. Oh, maybe it... No, it doesn't. I thought we had something there on the 5, but we do not. We already knew one of those was a 6. It may be putting in information on some of these to see what options are. And maybe somehow that's going to tell us where we have something that cannot occur. But again, at the very moment, I don't quite see where our connection is for our snake. Now, if this is a 9, one of these two is snakeage. Can we continue that thought process? So we're doing something like this. We're getting like this braided tail kind of possibilities. Now it can either from here, well, if it went down this way, it would have to go this way. I don't necessarily want to keep this all in. So if this does go here, it must turn. If it goes here, it could turn down or it could come out. This would be low at a 3. And it could still get out here because this could be an 8. This went down to a 1 or a 2. This is a 6 or an 8. And then it could technically go to the 8 and then cut down and come over, or come over this way. So there's so many options it looks like that could happen here. Let's think in here for a second. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This can't, oh no, it can't. This can't ever be snake. Because it can't connect to the 7 or the 9. The only way it could connect is if this was a 9, this was a 4, but that forces another 9. So this is non-snakeage. It's a tiny bit of information. But we still have the possibility. Oh wait, can we go around this way? Let's think about it that way. This would be high, low, high, low. It would go back into high and low. I'm just going to do a coloring exercise here for a second. So we would have all of our low digits. This would I kind of feel like we're going down a slippery slope here. Because if we went this way, again, we'd have all 4 low digits. There's no way that, wait, there's no way that works. Because where do you put the 4 if these are all low? Can't put it here, can't put it here, can't put it here, because you can't put, no, you can't put it here. Because if this is a 4, this is 9 and 9. You can't do it. Okay, so that doesn't work. If we can't go down this way, it must go this way, tie in this way, and then tie over. Okay. This can't be 4, 5, or 6. These are now not 9s, so this is not 9. These must be low digits, 1, 2, 3. Neither one is 2. This can't be 4. This one could still be 4. Okay. We now have touched this guy. So all of you are non-snakified. You're non-snakified. was hoping we could have a reduction in one of these low digits. One of these is a 5. Like I said, we can't rule out the 4s. Let's go continue down the line. This has to be high. It can't be 6 anymore, so we can get rid of 6 and put it here. This can't be 6 or 8, so it's 7 or 9. This comes down to a low, so 1, 2. It's either 1 or 2. It can't be 3 and it can't be 4. Okay. We're going to have to... This can't be 6. What can we put on these things here? Again, we're going to have to figure out where this thing goes. We know one of these is a 6. One of those. But the grouping of digits here is not differentiating these just yet. This can't be snake. We know this can't be snake, and this can't be. Really wishing we could find this or one of these to get us out of this little situation. We know these can't be snake. Anything at all that we can determine about some of these things. These are from 4, 5, 7, and 9. You're not 9, you're not 5. That's poo-poo, as they say. Okay, again, how do we get out of here? Can we continue up? This would be a low digit. It would have to be a 1 or a 2. Then it would have to get out to a high. And then low again. 1, 2, 3, 4 lows. Again, where would the 4 go? It cannot go in any of those positions. It's kind of interesting. I'm wondering if that is the way you're supposed to think about it. But if we can't go up there because we're going to wipe out our 4s, we must go this way. Which means this is a low digit again. It's from 1 or 2. So we have a 1, 2 pair. We know this can't be 1 actually because of this. So this would be 2, 1, 2, 1. Get rid of a lot of this stuff now. Neither of these is 2, so this is 2. Okay. Now again, one of these 2 has to be... Well, this can't be a 1, by the way. Actually, this just has to be a 1, doesn't it? By Sudoku, which means this is a 1. Guess we can go back and look at those real quick, because I think we just finished 1s. So what about 2s? We have, this is a 2. Anything else? Okay, well, we know one of these is a 3, which means this isn't, which means this is. Now, has that helped us any? The answer is not necessarily, because this 9 can still go into either one of these 2. And then we know it's going to finish in one of these 2. So is one of these 2 reduced to a point of value this could be 7 or 8. In fact, this is actually just a 9. We can put that in. And this is a 9. So maybe there is a little bit more on the Sudoku side we can be doing. That might finalize what these are. Okay, let's just jump back into it again. Let's go through the whole thing just so we can do it and see what's what. Okay, we know one of these is a 3, which means this is a 3, and we get a d. This must be 4. These are not 4s. That 4 says this is a 5 and a 4, which means a 7 and a 5. It's a little bit of something. What are you? You're either 6, 7, or 8. So we get a 6, 7, 8, which means this is 5, this is 4. Don't know that it went too much further than that. Oh, that does clear this up at least. This is snake 4 and 6. So now we know this isn't snake. We still don't quite know which one this 9 goes into next. But let's continue further and further. This is 3, 6, or 7. I think that's going to give us something, right? Because this can't be 6 or 7, so it's 3. 8, 6, and 7 there. This is no longer a 5. We'll get that out of the pot. What are you 3? Well, actually, just look at these two. These are 3 and 8. And this can't be 3, so 8, 3. That gives us this digit, which is a 4. These are 6, 7, and 8. Not super helpful. None of this is super helpful. Let's see what these digits are and see if we can figure out this last bit of this. We've got 4, 5, 7, and 8. These are not 8s. This can't be part of our snake, because if it was, it would be a 7, and it would be next to a 2 and a 3. So you're not snakified, which means you are an 8, because you're next to a 2. Again, we don't quite know. I don't know how we're... Oh, the 1, duh. The 1 clue. Once I got this guy down here, I could have just... Or no, once I got the 4, I could have said this is not snake. Okay, there we go. So we do finalize our snake. Thank goodness. Took a long time, but we got there. Okay, now let's just run through all this stuff, because I think we're pretty much at the point here. This is 8, 7, 5, 4, 7, 5. This is 8. This is 6. Yeah, we're good now. So this is just going to be chopping it up. This is not 7 or 8, so it's 6 and 7 and 6. This becomes a 5, 7, but this is 5, 7 by the rest of it. Therefore, this is 4 and 6, and that did it. Okay, you solved the puzzle. Solution is correct. So other than a little hiccup in this area, in these two areas, I should say, that was a wonderful puzzle, just like the entropic snake was. Slightly different rule sets there, with the circles being added, which worked well. So anyway, I really enjoyed that puzzle. I hope you all did as well. And if you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that other good stuff helps the channel out immensely. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.